Right, welcome to FT7 again. For this week's call, I will go over some trades we took last week, and we will do some preparation for the coming week. I've also have some great stuff in order to share, which might help you in your trading, especially for the next week. So let's recap back for last week. So let's look at GJ. Um, GJ was selling was buying, sorry, for the whole week until it dropped tremendously off this weekly zone. So I was buying GJ for the whole week until Friday because that was a clear reversal on the market, right? So it's very important. Like if you see that price is going up so hard with so much volume, right? These swing points of market structure are very crucial because this can be um, the reversal points where price can reverse. Okay, that's one. But price doesn't reverse just like that, right? Like you need to have um, more confirmations to know if it is a price reversal or not. No. One of those confirmations is to draw a trend line on the 30-minute or 1 hour. 1 hour is way stronger than the 30-minute, of course. If that breaks, then you have one confirmation. So this was one confirmation that we have a trend reversal. Also, if you look at this pattern here, you have an engulfing pattern on the 1 hour, right? So there's one sign, and the break of the trend line is a second sign. But for me, what is more important is, did we reach the liquidity wick on the weekly level, right? Because we need to reach this fake out first, right? Before we start looking for any breaks of structures and other confirmations for market reversal. So for me, it was pretty clear. I see many signals that triggered my sell for GJ. This 1 hour engulfing. Then we had another 1 hour engulfing, broke trend line, broke support, right? And then it dropped immediately with 140 pips. So that was the first shot. If you if you look at your line chart, you also see a clear head and shoulders. Just to left shoulder, head, and then this the right shoulder, and then it came back for the fake out of the right shoulder, and before it tanked further down on Thursday and Friday for 300 pips. So when I saw this trade, I took this trade, then I saw, okay, it's going back. Then there's one very important rule. If price closes above the resistance of the head, right? Okay, then the trend is still up, right? If it doesn't, if it doesn't, like in this case, if it doesn't, but it fakes out a, how do you say, it fakes out a zone, in this case the right shoulder zone, or there are two zones here, right? It fakes it out, then you can expect price to drop all the way down because we are still here in the weekly levels, right? We're still in the weekly levels. That's pretty clear. So just to recap, summarize everything in one bunch for this trade. I was buying like the whole week until Friday, until Thursday, Friday. And then I saw this 1 hour trend line break in combination with the engulfing on the 1 hour left shoulder and the right shoulder. And then it came back to retest the right shoulder. And then it left for 300 pips. I did something really cool on Friday, which was, of course, we had some news on Friday, right? On inflation. So it was also like a bit driven on the news aspects in the US in terms of inflation. But there were so many signals to the downside. like overall we are going down because we are making lower lows, lower highs. But if you look at if you look at this chart, look how many engulfings you have. This is an engulfing. This is an engulfing going down. So it's engulfing on 50 minutes for the whole day. Engulfing, 50 minutes. Like there's so many trades that you could take. This was an engulfing. So it was so simple. Well, the easiest, in my opinion, is if you have an engulfing with a structure break, right? Then you have double confirmation for your entry. So you have engulfing and you also have a structure break. So you have a double confirmation for your entry. You put your stop loss above that engulfing, and then you write your trend, right? Okay. Don't use this engulfing against the trend because your trade will be short-lived. Like for example, this candle here is also an engulfing, right? Um, right. This candle here is also a engulfing, but come on, right? It's quite clear that price made a lower low here, and then it needs to make a correction back, right? So yeah, even though it gives you 25 pips, it's not the overall move going down. It's against the direction. So don't trade engulfings against the trend. Keep it simple. Yeah, same stuff and on GU actually. Same stuff on GU. GU was the same trade, kind of going down, definitely. GU was setting up for the whole week. It was pretty clear in terms of market structures here. Market structures going down, lower lows, right? So there were many major structure points here on a 1 hour for major structure point. So what is a major structure point? The major structure point is a point that made the lower low, right? So this structure point made the lower low, right? This structure point made a lower low. So that's a major structure point. In between, we have some structure points in between, which are the minor structure points on 30-minute or on 50 minutes. But the major structure points are the ones that have more power, right? If you look for the right entry and the confirmations in order to take your entry, and that makes the trading way easier. Following your trend, very simple. Gold, yeah, gold is a crazy pair. If you're like a beginner trader, I won't recommend you to trade that pair before you really master that pair. Well, this was a clear zone here. But you see here many rejections, wicks, rejections of the sellers. And then if you go to lower time frame, you see a beautiful 5 minute engulfing here. Beautiful. And then came for the retest of that engulfing. So that would have been my long. I didn't take this long because I was in GJ. So this would have been my long on that retest. And there you go. So yeah, even though I missed it, it's still beautiful to see how it works out. Yeah, pretty much. I also don't advise to look at so many pairs. Just choose 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 1 or 2 pairs, and try to master that. I want to show you guys something cool. So it's an indicator that I found. It's called Kill Zone. It's just showing you the sessions, the London sessions, Asian session, and the New York session. Is this one Kill Zone Oscar from this guy? I don't know the guy, but it's just one great tool that I just use in order to show the sessions. So let me explain you guys how it works, right? So the dark red is the start of the Asian session, and this whole range here is the Asian session. And then after the Asian session, this dark green is the start of the London session, and then this whole area, right? This whole area is London session, and in between you have New York session, opens at this level, right? And then yeah, and then the New York session then goes further towards way later, but the London session closes at this point, and then the New York session trades like a bit longer. Why do I like this indicator? Is because it shows you the the openings of the market, and as you guys know, at the openings of the market, there's a lot of volume, right? And it's also important to choose your pair. So does it make sense to trade EU during Asia? No, right? During Asia, it makes more sense to trade GJ or CJ, like the Japanese yen pairs, because there is the volume in that session. Then when you go to London, right? Then you say, okay, which pair should I trade? Well, London is a GBP, right? So it makes more sense to trade GBP um instead of CJ, so then it makes more sense to trade EU, GBP USD or GJ because then there's volume. Okay. I will show you a very simple strategy. Very simple strategy so you guys can practice in the coming week, and that is looking at um, the market open. So be be there like 50 minutes or 30 minutes before the market open, and then when the market open, I want you to do one thing. That is trade is very simple breakout in the trend, please, not against the trend. So overall, market is going down here, right? The market's going down here, right? So here you see I draw a support line and I draw a trend line. Well, when price breaks below your trend line and below support, I see another support broken in the trend, then you put your stop loss above this high, right? And you take 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 2. Okay. Of course, this was a immense drop, you know, but just take 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Sometimes you get more. Yeah. So that's a simple strategy backtested that works. I will show you more examples. Okay, for example, here you have Asia. You can take it on 50 minutes or like on 5 minutes. Here you see, okay, let me take a short position. Short position. Here, I'm already 20 pips. 20 pips. Boom. Wait 20 pips in. Then you can take it 20 pips. Very simple. And then we have an opening here. We have an opening. Now in this case, this is London. So in this case, I would also draw my trend line on the opposite to see what it does, because price is making a lower low, so it needs to make a correction, all right? So then you see, okay, now it's making a correction. I need to read market structure. So I'm taking it for the long here. Yeah, in order to make things very simple. So one, it's your ability in order to read the market structure. Secondly, you need to be aware in which session you are. For example, look at this situation. Like in Asia, it was like rangy. London opens and it leaves, right? Let's and you see that more a lot of times. Like in Asia, it's a bit rangy. London opens and it leaves. Same story. Okay, here in Asia, it dropped quite some, but when London opens, London decides where GDP goes, right, for the rest of the day. So so you need to be aware of this because London break of trend line, break of structure, retest the structure, and it leaves for the whole day. So be aware that the market opens are of crucial time periods to be prepared on your trade, because then volume increases and it increases your probability to get a trade. Yeah. To get a very clean trade if you have practiced and backtested this strategy. Um, yeah. So of course you can also draw your trend line like this. You see, break structure, break trend line, the retest of the trend line, and up it goes for 80 pips. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful strategy for you guys to practice. So please go over that and try to practice and see if it works. If it works, then please share it in your comments. And if you have questions, let me know. Okay. So let's go for the preparations for next week. Okay. Well, let's look at top-down analysis. That's very important. Well, we are in a monthly level at this moment. Make lower low, made a correction. So I definitely expect that GU will complete this lower low for the next 900 pips on a weekly basis. Also made a lower low on a daily here. So for GU at this moment, I'm only focusing on sales when price come up at certain levels. So I'm drawing my 30-minute levels here because definitely overall downtrend. Must say that we can expect a correction first before we eventually go down. So I set my alerts and I wait. The only thing that I need to know, set my alerts and I wait. Yeah, set my alerts and I wait. And then off these levels, I check for rejections and I check if I see any engulfings. Don't make it any more complicated. That's not necessary. Okay, perfect. My charts are set. So I'll just check how the market opens. I am aware that price closed here below, which can be a fake out temporarily to retest, or yeah, it can be a fake out temporary to retest, or to go further down. Let's see. All right. EU. My opinion, same story. Weekly level, definitely bearish. Definitely bearish. It is at a daily zone here. There's another zone below. So I do expect that these daily zones will cause for some rejections. If we draw our major structure points, these are major structure points. So let's see how these pairs will correct. If it breaks, it will go for this major. If it doesn't break, then we go down. It depends what we get for the market opening. So let's see. Gold is in a incredible great zone at this moment. This is a major daily zone, major 4-hour zone. So I would check for potential sells at market open. Check for potential sells at market open to see how that will work out. So far it looks good, great. So let's crossing down below this support, and if that happens, then I'm taking a sell. Okay, perfect. This was it for this week. Thank you very much, and you guys have a great trading week. FT7 out.